Hey everyone, this is Andy from Immediate Arabic, and today we're going to do a comparison between Fusha, also known sometimes as Classical Arabic or Modern Standard Arabic, MSA for short, the Levantine dialect, and the Iraqi dialect. Now, for those of you who are new to Arabic, Fusha, or Modern Standard, is the Arabic that you are going to read in the media, the Arabic that's used on TV, the Arabic that is used in maybe higher level meetings, but it's not used, and of course the Quran as well, but it's not really used a whole lot in speaking on a day-to-day basis. So Arabic is spoken by probably more than, I think, 400 million people at the last count. It's official language of 20 plus countries. So it's a pretty big deal nowadays. And within all these countries, there are going to be dialects. And within those dialects, there's going to be more dialects. So, for instance, in Iraq they have, an Iraqi dialect, but there's going to be probably a number of other dialects within Iraq. Same goes for the Levantine dialect, which is spoken in Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria. So each of those countries will have their own, but at the same time, there's going to be, again, dialects within those dialects. So it starts to get a little bit interesting when we start to talk about all the different dialects out there, the Levantine dialect, the Gulf dialects, and then of course you have the North African dialects. You have your Libyan Arabic, you have your Egyptian Arabic, you have your Moroccan Arabic, your Algerian Arabic, and all these are going to be to some degree different, but they're all based on Fusha. So that being said, just understand that there's a lot of different dialects and that you kind of need to know a little bit about a few of them so that you can understand people. So that being said, we're going to do just a small comparison today with Classic Arabic, Levantine dialect, and Iraqi. Please understand this is not a comprehensive overview of everything. This is going to be a short, hopefully 10, maybe 15-minute long video in which we will kind of explore some of the more common words that you might use in a conversation, because Immediate Arabic, we're always focused on how can we actually use the language in real life. So let's jump right in here and let's start. We've got Classic Arabic on the left, we've got Levantine dialect in the middle, and Iraqi on the right hand side here. And I do have it actually written in Arabic for those of you who do actually read and write a little bit. And if you don't, no worries, we're going to use transliterations. Transliteration, again, is a phonetic way of spelling these things. Like we always tell you guys, you can date a transliteration, but don't get married to them. What we mean by that is just remember that these are symbols for the words. They're not always going to equate to exactly the same exact spelling in Arabic. So just use them as a guide. So let's start over here. We have a few greetings. We have marhaban, and that is a very common Fusha word for basically hello. Okay? And then we have ahlan wa sahlan, which is not necessarily just a hello type greeting. It's kind of like a hello and welcome if somebody would say coming into your home. And then we have the standard Islamic greeting, assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, and that is peace be upon you, but it's still kind of a hello. So if we slide over here, we have the Levantine dialect. So they actually use a form of marhaban, except it's marhaba, okay, which again is hello and fairly common. And then I've heard ahlan as well. That's kind of like another hello. And then if you slide over here to the Iraqi dialect, they actually use marhaba. And I've actually heard this. I don't know how true it is. Maybe some Iraqi speakers can make some comments here, but marhab, where they even shorten it more. So not 100%. I learned that one in a lesson, so if my memory serves me correct, and she was from Iraq. So we also have hello over here as well, which really probably stems from the American or English hello. So hello, marhaba in Iraqi, marhaba, ahlan in Levantine, and then marhaban, ahlan wa sahlan, and assalamu alaikum. Now, going a little bit down from there, let's get into how are you. And in Fusha or MSA, it's going to be Kaifa Haluka for a male. Okay, a lot of times they'll just shorten and it won't even put that last in there, so to speak. And then for a female, it would be Kaifa Haluki. Okay, and you can actually see here, just to kind of show you, we actually did put the diacritical kesra here and the feta, and notice that it goes after the kef, or after this K sound here. Versus over here in Levantine, we have kifak, okay, for a male, that's how are you, and kifik for a female. So in this particular case, the feta and the kesra, which we actually put in here, goes before the kef or before the K sound. So it's kifak and kifik, and that is hello. I'm sorry, that is how are you. Sorry. And let's look over here, because Iraqi gets a lot different. So shinu is what in Iraqi dialect. So what they do here is they actually kind of push everything together. So shinu is what, and lone is color. So if you look here, shlonek, okay, this is like what your color, okay, what's your color? And that basically is meaning like how are you, okay? So this would be, shlonek would be for a male, and Shlonich would be for a female. So if we look here at the kef, or this other letter, in which I'm not 100% sure, I'm assuming it may be like Persian or Farsi. It's got almost like 3 dots under this letter. So, but apparently it's pronounced Slonich, so either way you spell it. So Slonich, again, what's your color for a female, or how are you? And a couple different ways to say I'm good. In Fusha, it's kind of, you know, I kind of use this a lot. Ana bikhair, and then throw a shukran on there, you know. And this basically comes to like, I'm well, thanks. Okay. In Levantine, it's going to be ni. Ni. Which is like, you know, nice, well, good, and you could probably put Anna on there as well. And then for a female, Niha. So you got the Tamabuta added here at the end, so it's Niha. You'll basically just kind of squish these 2 letters together here. So you could say Ana Niha. And in Iraqi, it's even more different. It's Zain, okay, for a male, which is like good, and Zaina, okay, for a female. So, and I think the word for I in Iraqi is like Ani. So it's like Ani Zain, Ani Zaina. A couple quick notes here. You can kind of see that here in the Levantine dialect, we add the Tam Marbuta, and same goes over here in the Iraqi dialect, and that's how we come up with the feminine version of, you know, basically I'm good. Now let's come over here to what's your name. In Fusha, it's Ma Ismuka, okay. And again, you don't always have to use that last type A sound, or Ma Ismuki for a female, and that's what's your name. It's what your name, and then of course the K kind of denotes that it's like you, yours, or your. Now in Levantine Arabic, they use shu as what. Okay, so shu ismak, shu ismik, and again, you got the kasra and the feta there before the kef or the k sound. So it's like shu ismak or shu ismik. And that's for a female, what's your name? And then over here, again, we've kind of taken the shinu, the word for what in Iraqi, and kind of squished it in, and you still have basically your same, ism is name in Arabic. So you still have ism in here, but we've kind of squished it all together, and now it's shismak, okay, for male, or shismik, shismich for a female. So you can kind of see that pattern again, and we've got the same kind of letter that we're not 100% sure of. Maybe Farsi over here is going to be my guess. So it's like, what's your name for female, shismich, and shismuk for a male. So again, a little bit different, but you can still see, the roots over here of ism in everything. Ism, ism, ism. And the good news is with my name is, it's just ismi, and then of course whatever your name is. And that is across the board, whether it's Fusha, whether it's Levantine, or whether it's Iraqi. So this gives you just kind of a little baseline here of, what the differences are. Like matha and ma are what in Fusha. And matha we use with verbs, ma we use without verbs. And over here in Levantine dialect, it's just shu. And then over here in Iraqi, it's shenu. If we look at the word aina, which is basically where, okay, aina's right here, and we look over here and we have Wayne, or basically this is how it's pronounced, Wayne, and that is where in Levantine, and then we have Wayne again over here in Iraqi. So this gives you a little bit of an idea on a couple different dialects, how they relate to Fusha. And the other thing is every dialect is going to be just different. Let's look at Egyptian Arabic. So if we say Jemo, which is camel, it's going to be Gemo in Iraqi, in Egyptian Arabic, and it's almost like a English G. If you look over like at the Gulf, a lot of times it would be instead of kahwa, which is the word for coffee in Fusha, it would be gahwa, or in Levantine dialect it would be ahwe. So even when they're sometimes spelled fairly close together, there's still a big difference in how they're pronounced. But once you can start picking up the patterns of each dialect, all of a sudden a limited knowledge turns into a much larger piece of knowledge for you. You just have to know certain things about them. So guys and girls, that's all we have today. We hope this gives you a little bit of an idea. Again, it's not a comprehensive overview, just a kind of quick look at two dialects and their comparison to Fusha. If you have any questions, let us know. Ma salama.